Ladies and gentlemen, the broken-hearted, the misunderstood, the silent warriors in this chaotic game we call relationships. I see you. I see the way you've been treated, manipulated, and taken for granted. You gave them everything, didn't you? Your heart, your soul, your loyalty. And in return, what did they give you? What did they offer you for your tenderness, your sacrifices, your unwavering belief that they would honor your trust? They gave you nothing but pain, nothing but betrayal, nothing but the hollow sting of unfulfilled promises. They expected you to crumble. They expected you to beg, plead, and lash out. They thought you would collapse into a mess of emotion, crying out for the love you thought you deserved. They thought you would be weak. They thought they could break you, but you didn't. You gave them nothing. Nothing but cold, unyielding silence. It wasn't because you didn't feel anything. No, far from it. You felt every word that cut through you, every false smile, every broken promise. You felt the weight of their disregard like 1,000 stones pressing against your chest. But you didn't let them see it. They thought that by pushing you, by ignoring you, by belittling you, they could make you beg for their attention, make you chase after their validation. But they were wrong. You gave them nothing, because in your silence, you were reclaiming your power. You were showing them something they never expected to see, a strength so deep, so vast, that it terrified them. They wanted you to break. They wanted you to show them weakness so they could discard you, make you feel small, insignificant. They thought your silence would be a sign of your defeat, but in reality, your silence was your strength. You didn't lash out, you didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't plead. You didn't need to. You knew something they didn't. You knew that you could endure. You knew that your worth wasn't defined by their approval, their affection, or their recognition. Your worth was yours. It was intrinsic, unshakable, and timeless. And that scared them. You didn't make a scene. You didn't lower yourself to their level. Number. You chose silence. A silence that spoke louder than any word, any accusation, any act of defiance. It was the silence of someone who had seen the truth. The silence of someone who had been broken but not defeated. The silence of someone who had been tested in the fire of betrayal and had emerged as something far stronger than they ever thought possible. They thought you would beg for scraps, but you realized that you didn't need their crumbs. You realized that you were a whole meal all on your own. You are not a beggar. You are not a victim. You are a warrior. And the silence you gave them was the calm before the storm. They believed they could walk away from you without consequence, that they could make you feel like you weren't enough, that they could replace you with something, someone else. But what they failed to realize is that you are irreplaceable. And as they walked away, you didn't beg for them to stay. You didn't try to convince them of your value. You didn't need to. Your silence was all the answer they needed. It was a declaration that your worth is not contingent upon their love or approval. You are complete as you are. And while they searched for their next fix, their next source of validation, you stood firm in your truth, unshaken, unyielding. They thought they had won. They thought they could take from you, manipulate you, mold you into something you were not, and you would just accept it. They believed they could make you feel small and insignificant, but what they failed to grasp is that in their mistreatment of you, in their dismissal of your worth, they only built your strength. They only fueled the fire that now burns within you, the fire that says, I am enough. I am whole. I am worthy, whether you see it or not. Your silence, my friends, was not weakness. It wasn't submission. It was power. You showed them that you could withstand their cruelty, their indifference, their neglect. You showed them that you could endure without crumbling, without begging for their love or affection. You showed them that you could stand tall, even in the face of their attempts to break you. And that, my friends, is where your true strength lies. It's not in the fights we have, not in the words we scream, not in the desperate pleas we make when we are drowning in our own emotions. Number, our strength lies in the moments when we choose to rise above the chaos, when we choose to walk away with our heads held high, our hearts intact, and our dignity preserved. That is when we are truly powerful. That is when we become untouchable. You gave them nothing but silence because you had already given them everything they would ever deserve. You had already given them your heart, your trust, your loyalty, your love. And when they failed to honor that, when they failed to recognize your worth, you gave them the only thing that could truly hurt them, the truth. And that truth was that you don't need them. You never needed them. You only needed yourself. In that silence, you reclaimed your agency. You reclaimed your power. You reclaimed your identity. And that, my friends, is a victory that no one can take from you. They thought they could break you, tear you down, reduce you to nothing. They thought they could walk away, leaving you desperate, empty, and broken. But instead, they were met with a force they never anticipated. They were met with someone who knew their worth, someone who had learned the hard way that they were not defined by the love or approval of others. You were not their possession. You were not their consolation prize. You were never their afterthought. You were always meant to be something greater than the way they treated you. And when they walked away, they were met with a reminder of that greatness. It is in the silence that we are reborn. It is in the stillness that we find our true selves. And it is in that silence that we become unbreakable. The world wants you to beg. It wants you to plead, to beg for their affection, their approval, their validation. But you, my friends, you have already seen the truth. You are not defined by anyone else. You are not defined by the love of others, by the praise of those who don't truly see you. You are defined by your own strength, your own resolve, and your own ability to endure without surrendering to the chaos. They wanted you to beg. They wanted you to fight. They wanted you to prove your worth to them, to make them see that you were worthy of their love, worthy of their respect, worthy of their attention. But instead, you gave them nothing. And in that nothing, you gave them everything. You gave them the realization that you were never the problem. You were never the one who needed to change. You were never the one who needed to prove yourself. The problem wasn't with you, it was with them. They couldn't see your worth, and that was their loss. They couldn't appreciate the treasure that stood before them, and that is something they will have to live with. But you gave them silence because you knew that you were never going to be their second choice, their fallback, their afterthought. You knew that your worth could never be measured by their recognition or their love. You knew that you were bigger than their expectations, stronger than their manipulation, and far more valuable than they could ever understand. And now, as they walk away, as they move on with their lives, you stand tall. You stand in your power, in your truth, in your silence. You stand as a reminder that you are not here to beg for love, for validation, for affection. You stand as a testament to the fact that you are worthy of respect, of honor, of loyalty. And if they cannot give that to you, then they do not deserve a place in your life. Your silence is your weapon. Your silence is your strength. And in that silence, you are free. You are not bound by the whims of others, not constrained by their expectations. You are free to live, to breathe, to thrive. Because the truth is, they were never the ones who defined your worth. You always were. And now, you know that. You know that your worth is not for sale, not for negotiation, not for anyone's approval. It is yours, and that, my friends, is a power that no one can ever take from you. So let them walk away. Let them think they've won. Let them believe they've broken you. Because in the end, they will realize what you already know. They will realize that you were always the one in control. You were always the one who held the power. And you gave them nothing because you didn't need them. You never needed them. And now, they'll have to live with that truth. You see, there is something profoundly powerful about silence. It's not an absence of emotion or an absence of strength, as some would like to believe. Silence, true silence, comes from a place of depth, from an understanding of one's worth that doesn't require validation from external sources. It's the kind of silence that speaks volumes, that commands respect, without uttering a single word. It's the silence of someone who has seen the darkest corners of human interaction, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the empty promises, and has chosen not to engage with it. Silence, in this context, is not surrender. It is a weapon. And when you chose silence, you are wielding that weapon. You are saying to the world, to those who mistreated you, to those who thought they could take advantage of your heart, I will not lower myself to your level. I will not beg for what should have been given freely. I will not fight for what you have already chosen to discard. You stood tall, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. You didn't need to prove anything to anyone because deep down, you knew your value. They couldn't see it, and that was their failure, not yours. This, my friends, is where true power resides. Not in the loudest voice, not in the fiercest argument, not in the most dramatic confrontation. True power lies in the ability to walk away with your dignity intact. True power lies in the ability to move on without needing closure, without needing an apology, without needing them to recognize your worth. True power lies in knowing that you are enough as you are, with or without their approval. Many of us have been taught to seek validation from others. Society tells us that we need the approval of our parents, our peers, our partners, to be happy, to feel secure, to feel like we matter. But let me tell you something. No one can make you feel whole except yourself. No one else can validate your existence except you. You are the only one who gets to decide your worth. And when you come to this realization, when you truly understand this on a deep level, everything changes. No longer will you beg for their affection, for their recognition, for their validation. You will stand in your power and know that you don't need them to feel complete. This is not arrogance. It is self-awareness. It is knowing that you don't need anyone else to define you. It is knowing that your worth isn't something that can be given to you by others, but something that you inherently possess. And once you understand this, once you truly grasp the concept that your worth is not conditional, the world becomes a much less intimidating place. Because you realize that no matter what anyone does to you, no matter how they treat you, you will never be diminished by their actions. You will never be less than what you are. They thought they could break you. They thought they could make you beg, make you grovel for their love. But what they failed to see, what they failed to understand, is that when you refused to do so, when you gave them nothing but your silence, you were showing them the true depth of your strength. You were showing them that you could endure anything and everything without losing yourself in the process. Think about it for a moment. How many times have we been told that we need to fight for love? How many times have we been told that we need to prove our worth to others? How many times have we been told that love is something we must constantly earn? But the truth is this: love is not something you earn. It's not something you fight for. Love should be given freely, without condition. And if someone withholds that love, withholds their respect, withholds their loyalty, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of theirs. So why beg for it? Why chase after something that doesn't see you for who you truly are? Why beg for scraps of affection from someone who clearly does not value you? When you gave them silence, you showed them that you don't need their validation to feel complete. You don't need their love to feel worthy. You are already whole. You are already enough. And that is something that no one, no matter how hard they try, can take from you. This is the ultimate form of self-love, the ability to stand firm in your truth, to walk away from those who do not deserve you, to give them nothing but silence when they expected your tears, your desperation, your plea for their affection. In that silence, you told them everything they needed to know. You told them that you were not afraid of being alone, that you were not afraid of standing on your own. You told them that you knew your worth, that you knew you would never be defined by their rejection. And that, my friends, is the ultimate form of self-respect. Now, let me ask you this. What does it say about someone who tries to break you? What does it say about someone who intentionally causes you pain, who manipulates you, who ignores you, who mistreats you? It says that they are lost. It says that they are struggling with their own demons, their own insecurities, their own fears. It says that they are not capable of seeing your value because they are too blinded by their own inadequacies. It says that they are incapable of giving you the love and respect you deserve because they don't even know how to love themselves. And that is not your problem. Their inability to see your worth is not your failure, it's theirs. Their rejection of you is not a reflection of your shortcomings. It's a reflection of their inability to recognize greatness when it stands before them. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not something to be fixed. You are a whole, complex, beautiful soul that deserves to be cherished. And if they can't see that, then they are the ones who have lost. You have given them everything, your heart, your trust, your loyalty. And in return, they've given you nothing but hurt, neglect, and abandonment. But here's the thing, you've survived. You didn't crumble, you didn't beg, you didn't plead. You gave them nothing but cold, unyielding silence. And in that silence, you regained your power. You regained your sense of self. You regained your belief in your own worth. And that is a victory they will never be able to take from you. But this is not just about them. This is about you. This is about what you have learned about yourself in the process. You have learned that you are strong enough to stand on your own. You have learned that you don't need anyone to complete you. You have learned that your worth is not contingent on someone else's opinion of you. You have learned that you are enough, just as you are. And that, my friends, is the most powerful lesson you can ever learn. So when they walk away, when they leave you behind, remember this. You are not the one who is lost. They are. Because they have lost someone who is willing to love them without condition. Someone who is willing to give them their heart without hesitation. They have lost someone who was strong enough to walk away, who was brave enough to choose silence over desperation, who was wise enough to understand that love is not something that can be forced, and respect is not something that can be earned through manipulation. And in the end, they will realize the mistake they made. They will realize that they took you for granted, that they didn't see the treasure standing before them. But by then, it will be too late, because you will have moved on. You will have risen above their cruelty, above their indifference, above their rejection. You will have found peace in your silence. You will have found strength in your solitude. And you will have found freedom in knowing that you are enough, with or without them. So let them walk away. Let them think they've won. Let them think they've broken you. Because in the end, you will be the one standing tall. You will be the one who knows your worth, who knows your strength, who knows that no one can take away the power that resides within you. You will be the one who has reclaimed your peace, your dignity, your sense of self, and that is a victory that no one can ever steal from you. You see, they will walk away thinking that they have conquered you, that they have broken you into pieces, that they have rendered you small, insignificant, and desperate for their love. But in truth, what they don't understand is that they have only revealed their own weaknesses. They have shown you their inability to appreciate what was in front of them. They have exposed their lack of vision, their inability to see the strength and depth of your spirit. What they fail to realize is that you are the one who will rise from the ashes, unbroken, more powerful than ever before. They will walk away thinking that you are nothing without them, that your worth depended on their affection or validation, but you know better. You have learned the hardest of lessons, the lesson that your worth is not determined by someone else's love, their approval, or their acknowledgement. Your worth comes from within. It comes from the essence of who you are, the strength you've cultivated, and the wisdom you've gained through each trial and tribulation. No matter how much they tried to make you feel small, how much they tried to make you feel as though you weren't enough, you know now that you are more than enough. You are more than their rejection. You are more than their abandonment. You are more than their failure to see you for who you truly are. And as they walk away, as they move on with their lives, perhaps with a sense of victory in their hearts, you will stand here, unshaken, unyielding. You will stand as a beacon of strength and resilience. You will stand as proof that no matter how many times they try to tear you down, you will always rise again. You will stand as a reminder that there is power in silence, that there is strength in restraint, and that there is victory in walking away when you realize that the fight was never about you, because you were never the one who was wrong. In their eyes, you may be the one who lost. They may think that they have triumphed, that they have found someone new to fill the empty space where you once were. But you know the truth. You know that what they found was not better, not stronger, not more worthy of their time. They found someone new, yes, but they will never find someone who will give them the same depth, the same loyalty, or the same love that you offered. You were the one who truly saw them, who truly understood them, who truly cared for them. But they never saw it. They took it for granted. They mistook your strength for weakness, your silence for surrender. And now, they are the ones who will have to live with the consequences of that mistake. But you will not mourn. You will not cry over their departure. You will not waste another second begging for someone who was never capable of truly appreciating you. You will take this as an opportunity, as a gift, a chance to reclaim the parts of yourself that were lost in their shadows. You will rediscover the person you were before they came into your life, the person who was whole, who was strong, who was worthy of love, not because of their presence, but because of the intrinsic worth that has always been yours. You will begin to build yourself up again, but this time it will be different. This time, you will do it on your terms. You will no longer seek validation from anyone who does not recognize your value. You will no longer chase after love that is conditional, love that requires you to prove your worth, love that demands that you become something you are not. Because you know now that the love you give should be received freely. It should never be earned through tears, through pain, through submission. Real love is never about proving your worth to someone else. It is about two people recognizing each other as equals, as partners, as individuals who bring their own strengths, their own gifts, and their own value into the relationship. And if they can't see that, then it's their loss, not yours. When you stand in your power, when you finally accept the truth of your own worth, you will realize that there is no need to chase after love. Love will find you. Love will surround you. Love will be drawn to your energy, your confidence, your peace. And when love comes, it will come because it sees you for who you truly are. Not because you begged for it, not because you needed it, but because it is a reflection of the respect you have for yourself. They expected you to beg. They expected you to fall apart, to crumble, to beg for forgiveness, for a second chance, for their love. But instead, you gave them nothing. You gave them silence, and that silence was deafening. It was a silence that said, I am not broken. I do not need your validation. I do not need your love to feel whole. I am enough on my own. And that, my friends, is the moment when everything changes. That is the moment when you take back your power. When you stop begging for love, for attention, for validation, and start realizing that you are worthy of love simply because you exist. You are not defined by someone else's love, their affection, their approval. You are defined by your own strength, your own resilience, and your ability to rise above the pain, above the heartbreak, above the rejection. This is not an easy journey. It's not a path for the faint of heart. It takes courage, it takes strength, and it takes an unwavering belief in yourself. But let me tell you something. Every single step you take towards reclaiming your power, towards understanding your worth, is a victory in itself. Each day that you choose not to beg, not to chase after someone who doesn't value you, is a day you've won. And every moment you stand firm in your silence, in your peace, in your self-respect, is a testament to the strength that resides within you. They will walk away thinking they have won. They will think they have taken something from you, but they will never understand the truth. They have only given you the opportunity to become stronger, to become wiser, to become more in tune with the greatness that resides within you. The person they thought they were breaking has already been rebuilt. The person they thought they were diminishing has already risen again. The person they thought they could tear down is standing taller, more confident, more powerful than they could ever imagine. You will be the one standing tall, not because they walked away, but because you chose to let them. You chose to let go of something that was never meant for you. You chose to free yourself from the chains of someone else's expectations, someone else's manipulation, someone else's inability to see your worth. And in doing so, you chose freedom. You chose peace. You chose to live a life that is defined by your own terms, by your own standards, not by the fleeting affection or recognition of someone who did not deserve you. So let them walk away. Let them think they've won. But you know the truth. The only victory that matters is the victory you claim over yourself. The only victory that matters is the strength you find in walking away from what no longer serves you. And in the end, it is you who will have the last laugh. You will be the one who stands unbroken, unyielding, and stronger than ever before. And that, my friends, is a victory no one can ever steal from you. In the end, the silence you gave them is louder than anything they could ever say. The strength you've shown in your ability to stand firm, to walk away with your head held high, is your true victory. You are not defined by how others treat you. You are defined by your ability to rise above it. So stand tall, my friends, and let your silence echo the truth of your strength.